What's up, everybody? We back. It's week 3 of February, self-actualization month. And so the first couple of weeks, we just talked on our perception of self and why we feel the way we feel about ourselves, and kind of marinating on those thoughts, and really pinpointing deep down how it is we feel about ourselves, and if there are any feelings of dislike or not feeling loved or anything to that effect, that that we bring them to the forefront and we deal with them. Okay, so for week 3, we're actually going to be talking about changing our perceptions of ourselves, and in a way that is conducive of some real self-love, and really realizing yourself, and bringing yourself to the forefront. Okay, so just to kind of reiterate the reasons why we may have some negative perceptions of self. I mentioned in the last couple weeks, one is being ignored, in your childhood, not feeling loved, being put down, so much so that you start to develop a bad perception of self. So when you look in the mirror, you don't see something that you love. And as a matter of fact, part of you actually feels like you're not allowed to love you anymore, because a lot of people around you aren't showing you any love. And they are making it clear that when you're happy, they're not happy. And so, which makes it very hard for you to love and like yourself, right? And so the last thing I said last week was, what I wanted everybody to do was to look in that mirror and just say, I love you, right? Start giving yourself that real love, where you're talking to your most inner self, right? And usually that is your inner child. And then once you start to address that, we get to talking to ourselves, the young adults in us, the adults in us, and as who we are today, right? And not to say that we're not adults now, but I think y'all know what I mean by that. So the thing about changing your perception of yourself, you have to understand at least one thing. And one of those things is that those negative perceptions will resurface at some point. And depending on how bad of a situation or bad a seed that's been planted within you, those thoughts, perceptions, negative perceptions of yourself will resurface for a long time. It takes time for people to plant those bad seeds. And unfortunately, there have been people in our lives who have taken the liberty of doing that. And unbeknownst to you, they were planting a seed that you would have to deal with in years and years to come, while they have entirely, completely moved on from so many different situations, while you stuck still trying to deal with it and still trying to pick yourself up out the mud. Okay, while you still trying to swim amongst a bunch of sharks, you know what I mean, and constantly feeling like you're drowning and you can't keep up because you're dealing with so much mental, emotional anguish, right? And so what we need to understand is that all of those negative feelings at some point in time are going to resurface. And what we don't want to do is to treat them with just a band-aid, a topical solution. We want to feed ourselves the proper nutrients so that our emotions and our thoughts can heal from within, as opposed to us putting on a facade to help us to feel better about how it is we're truly feeling, especially about ourselves. Nobody wants to feel bad about themselves. Nobody wants to look in the mirror and just see sadness. Nobody wants to wake up in the morning and feel bad and unwanted, unloved, unpaid attention to. Like, nobody wants to wake up in the morning or any part of their day in this life to feel that way. Okay, so we're gonna start changing our perception of ourselves, right? that same child in you, that same person in you, or part of you that that feels kind of down about yourself, now is the time for you to exercise that power that you got, that power that I talked about last week, okay? That power to change, that power to heal yourself, okay? So one thing we will do is when we're feeling down is we will tap ourselves on the shoulder and we will say, hey, what's up? Sorry about that, I had to pause. I don't even know where I was. So I think I was saying something about, nobody wants to wake up and feel bad about themselves or look in the mirror and feel bad about themselves, okay? And so what we do is we grab that power to heal that I talked about, okay? And so realize that when you wake up in the morning, we are more than just a single being, okay? In this life, we are more than just one body just here, okay? We have different dimensions, so let's say, for example, you wake up in the morning, a part of you feels good because you exercised the day before, so your body feels good, you acknowledge that part, and then you are waking up some more and you realize, what did I eat last night? Did I do right the day before? So you thinking about your body feels good, how you thinking about what you ate, and then you waking up and you maybe thinking about what you're going to deal with for the day, and then you might be thinking about what's going to mess with you for the day, what you're not going to tolerate for the day, how you're going to keep a positive mindset for the day. So all these different thoughts and emotions are going on at the same time. With that, part of you have to find that part of you that says, not today, that part of you that says you're okay today. There is a part of you there that can do that. Unfortunately, with these types of situations where you end up in a position to even have to do all this self-work, that part of you, for their selfish reasons, has been silenced, right? Usually that part of you has been silenced because the people involved didn't want you to feel like you had a voice, didn't want you to feel like you were important, and so they may have kind of blocked your throat chakra. They may have blocked you some from really speaking out and even just feeling like, exercising your emotions, unless it was catering to their need and what they want to see at the time. So that's the part of you that needs help, and that you need to tell yourself, or that part of you now, that you do have the power to heal. You do have the right to speak up for yourself, right? So when you are waking up in the morning or what have you, or going about your day, and you start to realize that that you're feeling some kind of way, anything but happy, or even at peace, I'll put it that way. I'm not going to say happy, I'm going to say at peace. If you're feeling any other way besides at peace, you do have the right to get yourself back to a peaceful state, okay? And usually our peace is disrupted by the thoughts that we have, okay? And these specific thoughts right now that we're talking about are the negative thoughts that we have about ourselves, okay? Which also leads into feeling discouraged as well. So all those types of thoughts and emotions go hand in hand and kind of piggyback on one another, okay? So let's see. Now, as you are starting to work on your perception of self and having a more positive self-image, like I said, with in some situations with that throat chakra being blocked by people who want to silence you in so many ways, you do have to make sure that you don't end up in a kind of like a spiritual spiral, a mental downward spiral. Our thoughts and patterns of thoughts can lead to spirals of thoughts where all of a sudden we've had a full on conversation with ourselves that involves a whole lot of negative self talk. Okay. So we want to make sure that we can pinpoint when we are doing that so that we can stop it and replace those thoughts with either just peaceful silence or with some positive thoughts about yourself. Okay. What else, y'all? And those are the times when you have to muster up the courage to open up your inner voice to yourself and show yourself an abundance of love at those times. The love that you needed, or the attention that you needed, or you even may feel like you still need right now, it needs to come from yourself. Okay. And although we want to be able to reach out to people to get that hug, that attention, that sympathy, that empathy, that care, we're at the point now where it's not up to anybody outside of us to do that. Okay, it's solely up to you. And the more that you realize that it being up to you is not a burden, it's a power that you have, the less of a burden it will feel like, the less unfair it will feel like, and the less you will be worried about what the next person did or didn't do in the past, or in the far past, or in your present, or even thinking about what people might do in the future, which we're not going to worry about that type of stuff for the future though, right? So I just want to recap for this week. So we touched on the beginning of starting to change our perception of ourselves, and just like in week 1 and 2, with that, realizing where those thoughts came from in the first place, and realizing that we actually do have more power than we may have realized, and that is the power to heal and to be positive and show love to ourselves. Okay. So for this week, I wish everybody an awesome week. I will see you soon next Thursday. Hopefully here I'll be getting back on the in-between messages as well, and even more as they come to me, because I do have a lot that I want to share. So let's continue on with self-actualization, and we're changing our perceptions of ourselves. We're giving ourselves more grace. We're showing ourselves the love when we go through those downward spirals of negative self-talk and those negative thought processes about ourselves. And we're speaking up, we're unblocking our throat and our heart chakras, and we are stepping out and saying, not this time. And we're saying, we're not going to continue to live like this. Okay. So you do have that power. Always remember that. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Peace out.